Hello everyone, this video is for January 27th and 28th. So I have one announcement for my red days. We started the period with a genetics Kahoot just to review some of that vocabulary that we've been learning. If you were not in class, I did not take a grade for it, so just make sure that you are understanding the vocabulary we use in genetics. After that, I gave students in class time to work on the video recap worksheet that we started last period after our ed puzzle. In this video, I will go over that worksheet because that's what we did in class. After our mask break, we went into doing meiosis notes. So we just covered mitosis and learned that meiosis is a different process that includes different cells, so that will be what we learn next. And in this video, I will also go over the notes, even though in class I gave you time to kind of do it on your own at your own pace. So for my red days, as a reminder, I will not see you for a whole week. So iStep Plus is next Tuesday and Wednesday. Freshmen and sophomores do not come to school on those days. So you will stay home. Work for this class and every other class you have will be asynchronous, meaning that we will post it on Canvas and you are expected to do that work on your own. So per usual, I will include a video about the work, explanations, whatever I need to include to make sure you understand how to do it. If you have any questions, you need to reach out, but you are expected to do that work that day. For my green days, I will also not see you on Wednesday, but I was planning on talking to you about it on Monday anyway. So as a reminder, the video recap worksheet is on Canvas. You'll find it under modules. You'll scroll all the way down, and it is right here, mitosis video recap. So what we did here, before I assigned this particular part of the assignment, the first thing that you were to do was to watch the ed puzzle. So you watched an ed puzzle, an Amoeba Sisters video about mitosis. So this document is essentially a video recap for that specific video. It looks like this. The first page has 6 questions that you can see in the video. And the second page has boxes in which you will draw the cells in each stage of division. So prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So if you were in class and wanted a hard copy, I gave you one. If you did it virtually, I had you click on this link to download it, upload it into Cami, and use Cami to type or draw whatever you wanted to do. But definitely draw the cells, of course. And I linked in the video on YouTube. So instead of going back to Edpuzzle and it interrupting or stopping every so often for those questions, I just linked it in here for you. So you'll fill this out, and when you are done, you will download it to your computer. Or if you did a hard copy, you could just take pictures of the front and back, make sure they look real clear and I can read them. And you'll click on the Submit Assignment button and turn it in through here. The last thing that we did today was start with these meiosis notes. So we've just been talking about mitosis and how these cells, most of your body cells, pretty much everything except for your sperm and egg, reproduce this way. But there's a different process, similar but different, that the sperm and egg do go through, and that is meiosis. So this is our introductory assignment to this process. So I gave you this copy of guided notes. So you'll just go here. It'll ask if you want to make a copy. You say, of course. And it'll look like this. So just a few questions. And you don't even have to look it up. I give you exactly where to find these answers by going to this link and looking at these notes. You just go through this PowerPoint slide at your own pace, fill out the questionnaire or the guided notes, and that's pretty much it. You don't really have to Google any of these questions. They are put in this slides in a way for you to understand. Again, I'm usually against Googling, especially if I give you the resources to use, because Google doesn't know that you're a high school student and will give you anything from really, really simple to really, really, really complex answers to these questions. So please get your answers from here. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. Once you're done with these guided notes, you just go ahead and turn them in here. If you are a type of person who likes to hear the notes being given as well as look at the slides, later on in this video, right after I'm done explaining this, I will be going over the notes verbally, so you can watch it if you need to. All right, so while we have been talking about mitosis, which is how our body cells reproduce and make more, we are now moving on to meiosis or meiosis. However you decide to pronounce it is up to you. But this process is how we make our sex cells. So again, meiosis is a process of cell division where our cells divide that produce gametes. And these gametes contain half the number of chromosomes as the parent's body cells. So for example, humans have 46 chromosomes in our body cells. Half of that will be 23. So we have 23 chromosomes in our sex cells. Meiosis occurs in 2 division steps. So mitosis was just you start with 1, you end with 2, and that's it. Meiosis has 2 separate cell division steps. So we have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So again, gametes are sperm and egg cells. They are haploid sex cells that result from this meiotic division. And as a reminder, males produce sperm and females produce eggs. Those are our gametes in our bodies. So remember, diploid, we talked about in mitosis, is when you have 2 sets of those chromosomes. You get one from mom and one from dad. So our body cells have 2 sets, the 46. Haploid is half of that, which is just 1 set of chromosomes. So 23 chromosomes in your sperms and your eggs. So meiosis has 2 meiotic divisions. Your body does this because you increase genetic variation each sperm and egg that you make. So the more that you make, the more variation in genes that your offspring can potentially have. So that's why all organisms are different, because the genetic material in your sperm and egg are different. So like we said, it takes 2 meiotic divisions, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. In meiosis 1, we get 2 haploid cells. So we have 2 cells that have just 1 copy of the chromosomes. Meiosis 2 will result in 4 haploid cells. So 4 cells that just have 1 copy of your chromosomes. As a reminder, chromosomes occur in pairs. You get 1 copy of your chromosomes from your mom and 1 from your dad. So a cell with chromosomes with both parents is known as diploid, right? The 2 copies. Now, these 2 copies of chromosomes are known as homologous. So again, homo means the same. So we've seen this prefix before, so it's familiar. So in homologous pairs, that means that those chromosomes have genes for the same traits. So both of those chromosomes will have genes for eye color or hair color or dimples, right? The same traits. Organisms produce sex cells, and again, those sex cells just have 1 type of each chromosome, and those are haploid. Again, just that 1 copy. They contain half the amount of chromosomes as regular body cells, Why? Because in sexual reproduction, when we combine those two haploid cells, the sperm and egg, that's how babies are made, you create that diploid zygote, the baby that has two copies. So keep in mind, again, that our body cells have 46 chromosomes because we get one copy from mom, one copy from dad. So we'd have to have half of that amount in our sperm and egg to get the 46 chromosomes in our bodies. So think about if the sperm and egg had the same amount as every other body cell, we would combine 46 and 46 to get 92. And that's just not how many cells we have in our bodies. So it just doesn't work out that way. So our sex cells have to have half of that number to give us the 46 chromosomes we have. So meiosis 1 is going to look a lot like mitosis. So the phases are going to be the exact same, and similar things happen. In prophase 1, again, chromosomes condense, so that DNA that you see will find itself into the form of chromosomes, where we can see them. Those spindles form, the little fibers, they'll come out and attach to the chromosomes. You still see the nucleus, but starts to dissolve away. And this is where crossing over occurs. So crossing over is when these chromosomes are attaching to themselves and they can cross over and they can break off and switch so that some chromosomes have information from the other chromosomes. So it kind of increases this variation that we see and why we're so different from each other. Metaphase is when these homologous pairs of chromosomes line up at the equator or the middle of the cell, very similar to mitosis. Anaphase, these chromosomes are separating. They're being pulled apart and moving to the opposite sides or the opposite poles of the cell. Now, these sister chromatids, so the two that kind of come together to form the chromosome, remain attached at their centromere, which is the little middle part there. In telophase, we start seeing the nucleus again. You have these chromosomes that are on opposite sides of the cell. And then right after the spindle fiber or the spindles disappear, right after telophase, cytokinesis will happen where this will be cut in half and you'll have two separate cells. Meiosis 2 is it's going to be very similar to meiosis 1. So we're just going to keep doing the same phases again. So in prophase 2, the nuclear envelope, the nucleus again starts to dissolve and go away. We still see those chromosomes, and those spindles start to form because they're going to attach to those chromosomes. In metaphase 2, just like every other metaphase, the chromosomes will line in the middle at the equator, and these spindle fibers will attach. And in anaphase, those spindle fibers will pull those chromatids apart and again move them to polar opposite sides of the cell. And in telophase 2, we start to see the nucleus again. Right, and in this case, after the nucleus starts to appear, the chromosomes will start to decondense, meaning they'll go back to their spaghetti-looking selves. These spindles will disappear, and again, after telophase, you have cytokinesis that finally pinches these off and divides the cell into two, so that you'll end up with 4 gametes. So you have 4 egg or sperm, and each of those are just going to have one copy of each chromosome.